You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4, and today we are at the preview of Fringetastic. It's a Fringe Theatre Festival taking place in Nanaimo, well now, right through until August the 26th. There are 8 different performing groups, some from BC, some from Ontario, some from Alberta, and some from outside of Canada. We'll talk to all of the performers, that's our goal today, as well as the artistic director, Jer Banks, on this edition of The Daily. Also in the lineup, Kelly Robinson introduces us to get this, a knee boarding pug. Yeah, you got to see it to believe it. That's our edition of Pet Tales for this week. We're going to visit a young single mother in Victoria who battles cancer and the healthcare system that has let her down on more than one occasion. We're going to head to the Cowichan Valley with Terry Church. She's taking a tour of a brand new estuary center that opened on Cowichan Bay, and it's an ecosystem that combines saltwater and freshwater in the bay there. Before we get to any of that though, the VIX runs this weekend. Jocelyn Matwee has a sneak peek. You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4, and we are previewing all 8 performances in the Fringetastic Theatre Festival. Easy for me to say. It runs through until August the 26th. Jer Banks is the artistic producer. For those who don't know, well, I know, maybe you know, maybe you don't, what is Fringe?
Fringe is an international phenomenon that's becoming more and more popular in Canada, with a circuit going from Montreal all the way to Vancouver. That's seen careers of theatre artists all over go from here to Broadway and New York.
Now, what we've seen and what we're going to see later on in this edition of The Daily is unjuried, which means Jer hasn't seen any of it. You're seeing it for the first time tonight.
You know, I was lucky enough to see 1 or 2 of them, but yeah, we've got 8 companies in this festival, and I've only seen, like I said, 2. 6 of them are totally unjuried, and they're from all over Canada and the US. We've got a guy from New York, Ontario, and Nanaimo. I'm really excited because this means that some of these people are really talented and get to be on stage next to people who are totally new and exploring their abilities.
A lot of people do get a start at Fringe. They can take any accolades they get from here and carry it with them as they tour across other places, Canada, the US, even into Europe. You don't know what you're going to get. There were 4 from the island, and you purposely wanted to keep half the spots open for locals to put them up against these international groups.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing, is we really wanted to put emerging artists that are local, that the amazing talent that we have in Nanaimo, and put them on stage so they have an opportunity to meet people who tour nationally and internationally, and can see kind of where the next step is to go from Nanaimo to somewhere else. So we're really lucky to have people who from UVic, from VIU, on stage next to performers from New York, from Seattle, and beyond.
Been really impressed, had a chance to see some of the previews. Our goal is to show you a little excerpt from every one of the performances tonight. We're going to throw things down to Sucheta Singh in Victoria, introduces us to a single mother who is struggling with cancer and the healthcare system. Unfortunately, things are getting busy outside the Port Theatre here. Before we do that, though, we're going to give you our first sneak peek from New York, New York.
Fear Factor Canine Edition by John Grady. 4 stars in the CBC, great reviews, and sold out houses in Edmonton and Toronto.
Awesome, here he is.
About New York. This is the thing. Here's the thing. So you move out to New York because you're like, oh my God, you know, the city never sleeps. And then after a while, you're like, oh my God, the city never sleeps. I gotta get out of here. So what you do is you move out to Brooklyn, and then you're on Brooklyn. You're like, fun, it's like big sky country out there comparatively, right? And so then you're out there, and then comes the first winter, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to die sad and alone.
The communities near Victoria have rallied behind Julia and her family. There was a fundraiser held since that story was produced. You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. Our goal in this edition is to show you a little bit from all 8 of the performances in this Fringetastic Theatre lineup. It runs through until August the 26th. So we're going to start with a very short clip from Chaos and the Cosmos. It's a sci-fi comedy, a fight between brother and sister as they, I don't know, venture out into the galaxy, fighting for humankind's survival. Remember, this is Fringe. Here's a clip.
I know how to live a normal, productive life.
Said Sharon, queen of disaster. Remember when you used to cry on Mom's shoulder? Because you racked up a huge credit card bill and couldn't afford food anymore?
What's your point?
You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4, and today we are previewing all 8 productions in the Fringetastic Theatre Festival, which is on now through August the 26th. We had the pleasure of catching The Cult of Brother 12 in rehearsal on Gabriel Island earlier this week. This is a dark comedy musical, hilarious musical, offering a perfect storm of fascinating characters, show-stealing songs, avant-garde dance, and outrageously funny dialogue. You can watch the charismatic cult leader and his whip-toting mistress cast their seductive spell over the beautiful investigative journalist determined to expose them all.
My children, we are this morning to be blessed with some words of enlightenment from Madam Z.
Also in the Fringetastic lineup from Seattle is Man Catches Fish. Jen Hammond is the co-director, the writer, and also appears on stage in the production. What's the production? What's it about?
The production, Man Catches Fish, is a simple tale about a man trying to catch a fish. And this is for people who both love and hate fishing. But everybody gets a say. So every character in it has their own perspective. So that includes the bait's perspective, the fish's perspective, and each perspective has its own live performance style. So the fisherman is drama, but the fish is clown, and the bait is burlesque, followed by buto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, some audience interaction as well? Thumbs up, thumbs down, live or die, what power?
Yes, so something dramatically different about this particular production is that the audience members get to choose who lives and who dies. And so,
Even the bait?
Even the bait, yes. And then based on what the audience says, we will perform that. And we'll need, time to get ready backstage with a little sea shanty and all of that. But then, yeah, every show is going to be different.
Awesome. Sounds a whole lot of fun. If you want to be in that audience calling the fate of the fish, the bait, or the fisherman, you need to get your tickets. You can do that through the Port Theatre. For showtimes, you can check out the Fringetastic website. We'll be back with more on this edition of The Daily.
I'm so tired. I wish I were a fish. Oh, the freedom.
You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. We are at the Fringetastic Theatre Festival preview. The festival runs in Nanaimo through until August the 26th. There are 8 companies performing, 4 from Vancouver Island. Let's see if I can get this right. 1 from Alberta, 1 from New York. I'm going to cheat at my notes. 1 from Seattle. And then we've got these guys. This is Ian, and you're from?
Georgetown, Ontario.
Okay, and your show is called?
Placid Ends at Mothballed Beginnings.
I've seen the video. We're going to share some of it with you over top of this interview, but what the heck is this show about?
Well, it's an absurdist piece, if I could call it anything at all. I like to call it theater of chaos. It's kind of something
Who's this guy you're looking at? Is he your bodyguard?
This would be Ryan Trippa, my good old stage manager / bodyguard / web designer / everything in small packages.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, back to the show.
All right. It's been really fun. We're out here in awesome Nanaimo, rocking the Fringe Festival, so we're really excited.
So are people going to leave your show feeling heavy, uplifted? Sort of what are you portraying to the audience?
I'm trying to just get people to feel something, to be honest. It's an experiential piece in the sense that I don't really have a necessarily a message to say to people. I just have a bunch of experiences to show them so they can kind of think and decide what they want on their own. It's really not my position to kind of tell people what to think after a show. I just kind of hope that they go home thinking that they're a little bit luckier than the people that are on stage. Kind of want people to feel that they have a lot to live for and a lot to appreciate.
Can you see my eyes?
Looks great, buddy. Looks great. All right. There you go. All right. Look at that. You got a cardboard box.
Also in the Fringetastic lineup for 2012, Cardboard Robot from Honestly Entertainment out of Nanaimo, BC. It's a drama, discussions between a basement scientist and the robot he is building. Things get complicated, though, as the robot gets smarter. Also, it's funny.
Balmain. It was the queen who was still. Well, of course, she's paid.
A Wooden Shoe in Canada from Nick the Entertainer out of Chemainus, BC. It's solo storytelling, a combination of all original songs and monologues about a Dutch immigrant coming to Canada. As many immigrants know, it's not always that easy to get used to the new surroundings and ways in a new country. He talks about his upbringing in Holland and his theatrical experiences in Holland, as well as Canada, where he resides and has resided for the past 35 years.
Astonishing noise. It was for Kate.
And we are determined to meet our goal of showing you at least a little bit from every single one of the 8 performances in the lineup at this year's Fringetastic Theatre Festival. Coming up next on The Daily, it's a dog who could have a fringe show all to himself. Kelly Robinson in our next episode of Pet Tales introduces us to a knee-boarding pug. Yeah, you gotta see it to believe it. I wish I could knee board that well, and I swear that dog is going to have his own show in Fringetastic next year. You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4, and we are wrapping up our preview of Fringetastic. There is one show left to go, Relation from Calgary. Amanda Cutting is the co-writer and director. What's the show about?
The show is about 4 different people who alternately don't have anything in common, but have a lot in common throughout the play. It's basically about what you're willing to give up in order to have a relationship and the compromises that you do in order to have one.
And are we talking romantic relationships, or could this be a co-worker, a friend?
It's basically a dramedy, so it mixes the drama of life and the comedy of life together. And yeah, it could be a co-worker, it could be a roommate, it could be a sister or a brother.
It could be this guy that's just kind of hovering behind us. Who is he?
This is Dwayne. He plays one of our leads in the show, Jeff, and is actually one of the main characters about matching up with our roommate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe one little tip in trying to maintain a relationship with someone. What's a tip?
Just say yes to everything they say to you.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, maybe I'd still be in a relationship if someone had said yes to me a little more often. You have high expectations for how the show is received here in Nanaimo. It's been received very well in Calgary.
Yes, we've been nominated for 5 Calgary Cat Awards, and in areas of Best Direction, New Playwright, and Lead Actor. So yeah, we're really hoping that the Nanaimo will be as well received as Calgary.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good luck. If you'd like to see Relation or any other of the Fringetastic Theatre productions in the lineup this year, you can get your tickets through the Port Theatre box office. You can get the schedule and a write-up on all the productions at fringetastic.ca. Please, am I begging? I guess I am. Come on out, get your tickets. If you haven't experienced a Fringe Festival before, it's a whole lot of fun. Nanaimo needs this, and you got to support it. We'll see you there.